Thanks for joining me for another edition of Groove with Portia. I'm your host, Portia Booker, and yes, this is my real name. So I had someone ask me, what is Groove with Portia? I answered nicely, I promise. Groove with Portia targets those who are curious, eager, and hungry for new information that can aid in their personal and professional development. Malcolm X once said, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." Never stop learning. Be a sponge for the rest of your life. Before I jump into my topic for today, I want to start off with a little history lesson. So I'm going to introduce my guest. Thanks for joining me, Mr. Robert Whitsett.
Thank you for having me, Portia.
Thank you. He's the CEO and founder of the Royal Ties. So we'll jump into him a little bit later. But today is National Dictionary Day. So in 1806, American Noah Webster published his first dictionary, a dictionary of the English language. In 1807, Webster began compiling an expanded and fully comprehensive dictionary, an American Dictionary of the English language. It took 27 years to complete. Wow, that's my age, 27. Do people still use dictionaries?
I would hope so. I do.
Well, since people have them on their cell phones now, I think a lot of people just use them to make sure they spell something right.
You know, you have your spell check, from Siri, or you can go to Google and quickly look up a word just to make sure you're doing it correctly, even though there's apps for words of the day. So it keeps people, ahead of the times.
I used to love the word of the day. Speaking of this, I actually had a word of the day pop up today. Do you know what a grabitologist is?
I do not.
A grabitologist is somebody who collects and loves ties.
Interesting.
It is a real word. You can Google it. It's real.
Grabitologist.
Yes, grabitologist. So definitely look that word up.
Okay.
I remember in high school, the only reason I had a dictionary was because I took Spanish and Latin at the same time. So I needed to be able to correlate the Spanish words to the English words that were in the dictionary. Yeah. Same thing with Latin. Latin is part of Spanish, English, Italian, French, all the Romance languages, the good stuff like that. All right, so we're going to jump right into our topic for today. So I'm going to introduce who Robert is. Robert is a Cleveland native, graduate of East High School, High Tech Academy, and the University of Akron and OSU, the Ohio State. Did they debunk the THE?
No matter what, it will always be the Ohio State University.
I don't know why there was such a big debate about that.
Haters gonna hate.
I understand. So Robert says he is a phenomenal cook and donates his time away from crafting bow ties to mentoring youth within the Cleveland schools. He is the founder and creator of the Royal Ties. So once again, welcome, Robert. I thank you.
Thank you, Portia.
So I had the opportunity to meet Robert at the It's a Groom's Day 2 event back in March.
Yes.
It's similar to the bridal shows that they do at the IX Center for brides looking for their dress, their shoes, possibly people to make their flowers, bouquets, all that good stuff. So we got to cater to our men as well, right?
Absolutely.
We got to keep them looking nice, looking sharp, all that good stuff, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So, Robert, just some basics. What sparked your interest in the fashion career?
Well, the main thing that sparked it was having a sense of fashion. Growing up amongst two younger brothers, a dad that dressed, and being a part of my church, you constantly saw different levels of fashion, different aspects of style, and you just became one with yourself and knowing as an individual how you want to look and how you want to represent yourself. So over the course of time, it just blossomed into a love of looking good at all times and representing myself well as a young man.
So what did your father wear that really appealed to your fashion sense?
It was more in the details. You always had a suit and tie. You always wore nice pants. He always taught us to crease our pants. He always taught us to definitely iron, make sure there are good creases in the arms and always wear form-fitting clothes. We didn't do the sagging thing. Always was a belt. Even shoes, we made sure our shoes were polished, even if we needed protection over the shoes during the weather. You had all different levels of protection and catering to that nice outfit that you wanted to wear, whether it be on Sunday morning or between Monday through Friday.
Did your father wear like the matching socks with the shirt or the matching tie with the socks?
He got us hip very quickly, very early. Yes. So if your tie was a certain color or your shirt was a certain color, your socks definitely had to appeal. It wasn't just a basic black sock, unless, it was fitting to the attire, but he definitely allowed us to, think outside the box. If you're wearing maybe an orange tie, maybe with some blue in it somewhere, definitely get creative with those socks. And he paired it well so that we could too look that same way.
So what color suit did your father mostly wear? Just the simple black, or maybe like a blue, or combination of the two?
My dad loved a black suit, but he definitely enjoyed a good blue, and every once in a while, a nice tan.
Nice tan. I think I have a couple of suits of my own that are like a tan.
Yeah.
My favorite color is red, but I actually don't think I own a red suit for anything.
I've heard that many times.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love all colors, but for some reason, my wardrobe is mostly black.
Black is safe. It's secure. Black is neutral. So you can do many different things with black. You can add to a black with more black, and it still stands out as that's a lot of black, and I like it, versus just red.
Well, I mean, red you can only pair with so many colors.
Right.
With black, you can wear a red suit with a black shirt. I think I've done red with a white shirt or like a cream colored shirt. But black is almost like you can pair with a white shirt, a red shirt, a blue shirt.
You can do anything with black. I mean, even though it's neutral, it's almost universal. So it has different levels that you can, one, feel comfortable in, and then two, express yourself.
Absolutely. So how did you create your first bow tie? I mean, did you fail a couple times before you got it right?
You always have to stumble before you get that good walk. So I'll say this. In 2013, I decided that this is something that I wanted to do. And granted, I didn't have any prior training in how to sew at all. I just knew that this is something that I wanted to take a step forward for. So I saved some money. I went to a class and I purchased my sewing machine that week. Within that class, I learned the basics to sewing. And from there, I have a bit of a engineering mindset. So in my head, the best way for me to learn something is to deconstruct. So I took a tie that I love and I sacrificed it. I cut it open. I studied what looked to be fabric inside the fabric, which was interfacing. It held everything together and made it strong. I looked at the lines in which they created the shape. I realized why did they leave extra fabric in there, just to hold about an inch. And from there, I created my own template and I made my first bow. That bow was too small.
Did you not measure it?
I measured it based on the bow tie as you would see it on a table versus the actual measurements inside. And I didn't realize, hey, you have this extra inch inside because that's what makes it larger. You have to cut around that, not stitch on that. And therefore I shortened it. So it came out, it fit around the neck. It just didn't hold like a bow should. So I learned from that. I went back to the drawing table and I created one more, gave it a lot more room, and voila, I had my first successful bow.
Now, the tie that you sacrificed, was it a very expensive tie that you used as, the test dummy?
It wasn't expensive, but it was a fan favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it have a special design? Was it, one of your favorite colors, or?
I wouldn't say this now. Hope I don't regret it. It was a Sean John black, silver, and purple plaid bow. I loved it. I see it right now. Yeah.
Well, they say if you love something, let it go, right? And if it's meant to be, it'll come back
technically
to you.
it did come back, many more bow ties that I created later. Definitely, so it was the catalyst for, what we're seeing today.
It was the sacrifice for a much bigger scale of things to come. Wow. So I know that there's 3 different types of bow ties. You got the pre-tied, you got the clip-on, and then you have the butterfly tie, right? Mm-hmm. So do you make all 3, or do you just strictly make one?
I value in people knowing how to tie their bow tie, just as though they would tie a necktie. And for those that use the clip-on practice, hey, to each their own. Yet at this age, you wouldn't be seen putting on a clip necktie. So in my head, you do certain things up to a certain point, and then you learn more so that you have that under your belt. And we weren't allowed to wear clip-ons, but to a certain age, after a while, it's time to learn something more and have that under your belt. So I hold that same rule and resonate with me for a bow tie.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I applaud it. I think if you're creating a product that, your values stick through it, you have to make it the way that you were taught.
Absolutely. And I'll say for the youth that I've created pieces for homecoming, prom, special events like that, I will, of course, find myself making a clip-on. That's not a problem. And I do make it known, hey, if you all are going to be future clients, just letting you know that I normally stick to a certain rule with my bows. I can teach, I can show, and provide that service so that later on they can have that underneath their belt as well.
Does it take a certain skill to tie a bow tie versus a necktie?
Absolutely not. Same set of skills. In fact, it's almost reminiscent of a shoestring.
Really? I can't seem to tie my shoestrings in a perfect bow. Or when I have, a dress that has kind of like a strap around it, I can't tie it in a perfect bow. So I need to probably learn if it's the same concept. You probably have to show me too.
It really is the same concept, a slightly different rhythm, but a loop to a loop, one lace to a lace. Roundabout through the hole, tighten and pull until you got the perfect. Yeah.
That works. You'll have to definitely show me that way. I can learn to tie my dresses right and different things like that when I go to events. Because most of the time I just discard it and just, put another accessory.
It's like we're working with zippers. That's what you do. Zippers, straps.
Well, I mean, how creative can you be with a zipper outside of the fact that it just goes up and down?
That's it.
Just up and down. Not, with a bow tie, you can tie it this way. It depends on the design.
Yeah.
Versus zipper. The Royal Ties. What a name. How did you come up with that for your business?
Okay, the Royal Ties. That took a lot of time and soul searching in a way for me to find that. My main focus was, how am I going to showcase this brand and cause influence? And it kind of doubles down to my nickname that I give myself in my business. I'm known as Mr. Wayne of the Royal Ties, and that name happened because of people seeing me as a gentleman, people seeing me as this individual that has a solidified style. It doesn't conform to people or trends, and I uphold myself with a certain level of respect and dignity with my dress. And I wanted others to feel that same way when they wear my product. Feel, as an individual, feel great, feel honorable, feel royal. And then something stuck in there. Okay, well, if I want people to feel royal, I think I should match that with my attire. And then it hit me. Well, you're giving them royal ties. It's like a royalty.
Yeah, royalty. I mean, don't a lot of people say, what's the tea these days? You know, you give them that whatever story, the gossip. That's what my sister calls it, is what's the tea. Mm-hmm. So it fits.
So making sure people feel, not to say high and mighty, but that level of
feel good about themselves, feel, you know, confident. You know, they love the way they dress. Mm-hmm. This adds more distinguished, like, oh, you have on a nice bow tie, or, you know, you have on a nice watch.
Yeah. And from the oldest gentleman wearing an outfit with, you know, with a young lady, maybe at a black tie event, to the youngest child, seeing that image and wanting to replicate it because they know that this is what they want to do and how they want to look. That's powerful, you know, from just the image of something that they want to be, to the dress of how they want to be represented, to actually representing that as they, you know, walk through life. That's powerful for me. So if there's anything that I can do to influence that individual through style, I want to do it through the brand.
Absolutely. I applaud that. That's good to hear. You know, a lot of people can definitely relate to that. So what's your favorite part about creating your bow ties? Is it, you know, the production, or, you know, picking the materials?
Ooh. The favorite part of creating, I would say, would be the hunt. And the hunt is what I call the process of me figuring out what the client wants, and from getting their idea to actually looking for it. It's never easy. I'll say that it is seriously a hunt. I am either in one of 3 different areas of Cleveland looking for this stuff. I'm either online getting shipments. It is a constant back and forth because my creativity may want me to go one way versus the other way, which is the client may want to stay. Yet the best part, or the most gratifying part of the hunt, is once I find these fabrics and then I begin to create, then I'm wowed at that point of seeing it all come together. And that's something I can't foresee just because I grabbed fabrics. I have to get down and actually work. And when I see that unveiled, it's an honor.
So when you say that your creativity may be a little bit different than your clients, do you try to put a combination of both your creativity and theirs when you're making a tie?
That is my compromise at all times, because I know some individuals may not see everything I see. I have a different eye. I accept that and I love it at the same time. Yet they came to me because they want a piece, a masterpiece that they've never seen before. So I know that to an extent they trust me. So with that trust, I give them a piece of me while providing a piece of them. And within my compromise, I feel that all my clients have been pleased.
That's amazing. I mean, you know, you try to really meet their needs, especially through your artwork. Because it takes a creative mind to literally take something as simple as an accessory to make it different than what you see on Amazon or at Macy's or JCPenney.
Yeah.
So I know that you had made a bow tie for me that I requested.
I did.
The one with the Legend of Zelda. So how long did it take you to find that material?
I went on a hunt for about two days. It was difficult. I went back and forth looking through different material, different fabrics, different colors, different textures that could give off a sense of what you wanted, yet I still wanted to stick to a certain almost code or just direction of where I wanted to go, because my creativity was pulling me that way. And once I found it and showed you, you were very pleased. So I knew, hey, we're on the right path. Let's continue. And there we created a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think I told you I didn't want to give it to the person that I did give it to because I'm like, man, I like this for me.
That's what happens. That's what
I
happens.
mean, I'm sorry. Even though I bought this for somebody as a gift, I kind of want to be a little selfish here and keep it for me.
Right.
Since I spent my money on it, hey. So on that note, do you actually make bow ties for women as well?
I do.
So do you make theirs a little bit different as in like material or in like design than the ones that you make for the gentlemen?
So far, I've made 2 different styles for women. The first one that was requested, they wanted a larger bow, and they didn't really know what else after that. They just knew they wanted a larger bow. So I went a step further, did more research because to be the best at what you do, you have to have knowledge, So researching, I saw a style, that was more of a woman's take, and it allowed the straps to actually be more so of a scarf that went around the knot so that they can move it around how they want it, and then the rest of it would just drape down. And she loved it. And once more people realized who made this bow, I received more clientele that way. Now, some women love a, stationary bow, just sits right here around the neck, maybe for the business type. They're all for that. But I like to make things more larger, give them, of course, more textures and textiles to use because women love, they love a good feel to what they wear. So I make sure they have any and everything that they want. I know for the most part, a lot of people see my business just for men, but I definitely service women as well.
Well, when it comes to ties for women, you don't see a lot of women wear them.
True.
I remember in elementary school, this was many moons ago, we used to wear the little bow ties that would come around your neck and that had a button that you clipped together. That was one of the first ties that I had. And then when I took my middle school pictures, in the gym, my mom had given me this outfit that had similar to a necktie that matched the outfit that I had on.
Okay.
So I've always found ties very interesting. It's just I don't ever think about buying one whenever I go to the store. Because when I look at them, I want something, distinguished that's not commercial. The same as what everybody else is doing.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think your product is doing so well because it's distinct, it's different. It kind of has your signature.
Absolutely.
Like, I know who made that.
Right.
Versus you go to Macy's and you see a tie that says Ralph Lauren. Then you go an aisle over and you see one that's made by Sean John that looks exactly the same. And you're like, well, didn't I just see this one an aisle or two back that's $50 and then this one is $25? But they look exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
So I understand that. Speaking of ties, so Sweetest Day is coming up.
Sure is.
And, women are supposed to treat the guy to Sweetest Day. So do you have any fall-oriented colors that maybe some women might want to get their guy? Maybe they have a date night coming up or, something on the lines of Sweetest Day.
I definitely have fall collections so far every year, whether they're more so the autumn color, you have your browns, your oranges, your rust colors. You even have your olive, greens, different shades. I definitely provide those, and of course, since Sweetest Day is coming up, we can definitely provide a nice deal to take care of you, ladies, for your men.
Now, if somebody was interested in, purchasing a tie from you, is there, a good phone number or website they can go to look at your collection?
Absolutely. Now, the phone number would be 216-309-2969. And the website would be www.whoismrwayne.com.
All right, so you guys get that. You can definitely visit his website, whoismrwayne.com. Look for your guy a nice tie to put on for, date night for Sweetest Day. Do you guys know that Sweetest Day is only in Ohio?
It's only here.
So I felt stupid when I lived out of state because I saw a bunch of my friends posting, hey, it's Sweetest Day. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, it is Sweetest Day. So I go to work, of course, and I'm like, hey, you guys, it's Sweetest Day. And they all looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, oh, you guys don't celebrate Sweetest Day? And they looked at me like, well, what's that? And I said, oh, it must be only a up north thing.
Yep.
Well, just like when I lived in Tulsa, I asked for a Polish boy somewhere.
Oh, no.
And they were like, what's that?
Yeah, you're not getting that.
And I said, oh, yeah, I'm down here in the South where they don't know about Polish boys. I said, oh, okay. I'll just take a burger, please. I'll just take something simple.
That's it.
It works. It works out. So, when you're doing a design, do you use like a computer program to draw it out, or do you kind of like just do it freehand when you're drawing out your designs and stuff?
Well, I have to get it out of my head first, even before I hunt for it. So let's say the pattern is more so of a plaid. I'll try to draw it out and visualize it myself, and then actually go source for it. Because more than likely it's somewhere. Maybe hidden, might be rare, but I'm going to use it.
WOVU-LP Cleveland.
What's normally the how much fabric do you normally get for like one piece, or do you use the fabric for multiple pieces and create a different design?
I like to at least get a yard or two, because whether I'm using it just for bow ties, I would like to make sure I have, pocket squares, and even have enough fabric to use for, let's say, scarves for the season. So different ways for me to use it. And then, of course, because I'm predominantly custom made for the business, a lot of clients like to see a piece, but they want a certain fabric to be combined with that to make it their own.
Wow. And just out of curiosity, how much do you think you spend on fabrics in a month?
I'm not really sure to that extent, but I know I spend a lot for my clients. They ask for a lot, and I'm just blessed that I'm able to actually take care of that need. So whatever they want, whether it's velvet, whether it's silk, whether it's snakeskin, I'm going for it. As long as I have the means to find it and able to, get it within their time frame, it's theirs.
Now, I know you said that you did a lot of homecoming bow ties and things like that. So did you see like a common trend that the students were asking for, possibly, colors, or what did you see as far as like their request?
For the most part, most children, young men, they want to match either the trends of the community, so you may have your hip hop trends that they want to follow, or they're going to make sure they match the lady. So whatever she's wearing, whatever color she's wearing, they want to go for that. And it makes my job a little easier, because I can at least say, okay, based on this yellow that she's wearing, I can find that exact yellow and I can match it to make a bow tie for her. Versus, okay, we're just going to grab this yellow fabric and we're going to add this and throw that on just to see if it works. It's all based on that combination of the trends they're following, and then also making sure they match the young lady. So it makes my job a little easier.
Yeah, it does. I mean, at least they're trying to color coordinate.
At least.
And not go with an astronomical design just because it looks good.
Right.
Let's say if the girl's dress is like a red, and so maybe they're wearing a black shirt and they, can coordinate with the red tie, but instead they pick a yellow or blue one because it has a cool, design to it.
Yeah. Like let me see, last year I made 3 pieces that were sequence based because the young lady's dress was sequence. All 3 different colors, all different ways that I sewn the sequence onto the fabric so that it would still push out and give them that vibrant color and still make them feel, hey, no matter the outfit that I'm wearing, this bow tie is doing everything for me, especially because I'm standing next to a woman that's dressed pretty much in it.
They're dressed for Hollywood. You gotta look good all the time, especially for, homecoming and stuff.
Even my wedding clients, they want to step outside the box because they're custom. This is the one time that, one, they're going to look this great, and then two, that they get to share this memory for the rest of their life. So you always want to go above and beyond to make sure their custom piece is one of a kind across the board.
Well, I mean, you only got one shot to get it right.
Just one.
At least, if your hair is messed up, at least look good with your clothes.
At least,
Absolutely. So, I know that this past week you were just part of the King of the Knot bow tie competition.
Yes.
So, how did that go for you? Were there a lot of people competing? What were the judges kind of, judging or critiquing the different ties or other things that people entered?
So the King of the Knot competition was it was one of the mini games, a part of the Games of the Runway by Walter Von Glover. And that was a very electrifying experience. A lot of things going on for the male models. So there were different levels that all models had to compete for. I was one of the segments as well. And yes, we had different display centers where my pieces were shown along with the other contestant. We only had, besides myself, one other bow tie competitor. So it was more of a head-to-head versus a competition. But all in all, it was definitely a great experience to see people come in, look at the different pieces, look at the other table, and just, compare, contrast. You could tell people were thinking about different looks that they liked versus ones that they weren't, really feeling. Other ones that they wanted to wear versus others that were just great for art. So it allowed different people to give their opinion based on how they felt that bow tie expressed for them. And I appreciated that.
Now, do you have a lot of people come up to your table and ask to try things on?
Once they knew who I was and which pieces were, yes.
Did you get a couple, people to buy your things while you were there as well? Or just people trying them on, critiquing like, oh, I like this, I like that?
Well, we weren't able to give names of our station. We were just contestant 1 and contestant 2. So we had to stay anonymous at a point. Yet, once that ended and they saw the piece that I was wearing, they knew which table was mine. And yes, some people did inquire to purchase. I'm completely open to that. So definitely give out a card. They want to purchase at a later date. So hopefully that actually does come through. I'm completely fine. If it doesn't, I make these pieces for the creativity and the art behind it. Each piece definitely demonstrates some level of craftsmanship that takes time and effort, and my creativity. Even at 4 a.m., I was creating. Some things said, hey, change. No, keep. Okay, do that. It's like, okay, fine. So I appreciate when people love what I do to the point that they want to purchase on the spot. That's a pretty big move. So I loved it.
I know the feeling of the 4 a.m. creativity. You ever seen that meme on Facebook where it has the 4 cartoons of the girl trying to go to sleep? Mm-hmm. And then the one little bubble says, oh, don't forget to send that email. Oh, don't forget the dog needs to go out. Oh, don't forget this. So I understand where that goes. Because I'm up every day at about 4:45, 5 o'clock every day. I mean, because that's when I feel I'm the most productive and creative.
Okay.
Because later on in the day, you're at work.
Right.
You have to focus on your job depending on what you do. So that's my creative hour, and it's quiet. I can't work when there's too much noise.
Yeah.
So how do you focus when you're trying to create different pieces? Do you, play music? Where does your creativity come from?
I definitely need to be in a safe place. So mentally, I have a lot of different thoughts brewing in there, and usually the nighttime is my best time. And I want to say later is better for me, so I'll start work maybe around 10. And I really don't care how late it takes me. I won't even look at the phone, but as long as I'm playing some music that's loud enough to, keep me focused, whether it's just, percussion, some instrumentals, maybe gospel or R&B, just enough to keep me on a rhythm, then I'm okay. And hey, if it's 2:00 in the morning and I'm finally done with 8 pieces, great. It's just getting through that period of, all right, I'm done. I'm going to go to sleep now. And then that other area of, hey, wake up. I got an idea. Make it right now. Do it. And then I'm up. So
Like the little cartoon, like, oh, don't forget this idea.
Wait, come back.
I keep a little notebook actually next to my bed now, just so if I wake up in the middle of the night, I just scribble it down and I'm like, oh, back to bed. Absolutely, back to bed. Because I don't like, if I don't get enough sleep every night, I'm the grumpiest person in the world. Like, I literally feel like the Grinch stole Christmas. I'm stealing everybody's joy because I'm grumpy. So
Till I get a nap.
Yes, and I do nap quite often throughout the day. That is my thing. So when you're also creating your ties, do you put like your own signature in it, like a little note of encouragement? I mean, it's an idea if you haven't, but
not per se a note. I know that I have a different style and how I create the butterfly bow, which is the more popular bow tie type that people like. I've started a few different signature styles that I've created these pieces. So for the crowd that wants to learn how to tie a bow tie yet can't, what I will do is create a bow that is still tieable, but I will tie it first, and then on the ends I will keep them with clips. So in the meantime, they can always just clip it on the back and adjust if they feel, but that day that they choose to actually tie it, they'll just take it apart. And it still clips in the back, so it holds like a regular necktie would, or bow tie would, and they would just continue to construct from there.
well, maybe you should just include instructions for people who may not know how to tie a bow tie.
I'm working on that.
I mean, I think it'd be, a good thing, because I honestly do not know how to tie a bow tie. I can do a necktie. I do know how.
Would you prefer a video?
Sure. I can definitely take a video tutorial,
Okay.
because I learned by seeing and doing. I had a journalism professor in college. I will not say his name, but he used to tell our class, education without application is useless.
I've heard this saying.
And I've taken that with me throughout the rest of my life, because even though then I didn't understand it, now it makes more sense.
This is true.
Now, is there a time when a necktie is preferred over a bow tie in certain situations?
I personally do not feel that way, because I feel that the strength of a bow tie beats out a necktie. I feel that you have to have a certain level of confidence in that you are distinguished in your own right, that your style is probably going to surpass those of one with a necktie on. That's just my personal feel. I can dress any event up with any attire, included with the bow tie, and I still stand out. Versus, to me, the common look of a necktie. A bow tie stands out. And then we add color. Then we add pattern. Then we add design. Then we add the socks. Then we add, different look of the shoes. Then you add different levels. But it all started because you shifted from a necktie to a bow. So for me, I'm always going to go for bow.
Well, it's only right since you're, creating your own.
I don't know if I'm a bit biased. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go for the bow.
Is there certain pieces that you create that you want to hold on to because you're like, man, this is so good, I don't want to sell it?
I knew you were going to ask that. I knew it as you started to talk. Yes, There are many bows that I've created. That wow factor, when I create things that are a bit of myself and a bit of what the client may want, when I flip it to begin, construction of putting it together, I'm just staring at it. I want this. I want it for me. But I can't because I specialize in custom. So this one of a kind has to go to that person, and I just have to wave it goodbye like a parent, just wishing it was with me.
Let the bird out the nest, huh?
But I get joy from knowing that when people see, the piece that I've created, they're eager and very excited the same way I was. So even if I can't have it, I'll live vicariously through someone else, my clients.
Well, like they say, if you love something, let it go. And if it's meant to be, it'll come back. So maybe, one of your clients will, bring it back to you and say, I know you really like this.
So, that'll be the day. That would be the day.
Like, I appreciated it, just keeping it nice. And now I'm going to give it back to somebody who's going to wear it. Well, that's how I felt about that Legend of Zelda bow tie.
That was a gorgeous piece. It's gorgeous.
I didn't want to let it go. I mean, when I gave it to the person who it was going to, they appreciated it, and I asked them to send me a picture of them wearing it. I haven't gotten one. So, I feel some type of way about that. Like, geez, I spent money on you. I asked for a picture. A picture is free.
In time.
I mean, it's free 99. Not, I'm not asking you to go to Walmart or Walgreens to print out the picture. Just send it to me through a text. Just so I know it fits. That way you're not up here choking while you're trying to, wear it. Whatever. I'll live. I'll live. Thanks again, Robert, for coming in and, showcasing and sharing about your royal tie business.
No problem. Thank you, Portia, for having me.
Keeping our gentlemen looking nice, polished, for homecoming, their weddings, or any other fancy event that they may want to go to.
Thank you.
So, in a world where everything's massively produced, how do you continue to keep your customers and keep them coming back for more of your distinct and unique products?
For me, the focus, despite the mass-produced competition in a way, is knowing that people enjoy custom, and more deeply, people enjoy looking like themselves and no one else. I can't tell you how many times people have been in a room with well-dressed individuals and they look alike. From head to toe, look alike. And there's nothing more gratifying than knowing that you're the only one with this outfit. You're the only one with these pieces that make you look the way you are. And once again, I'm big on influencing the individual. So through style, if you want to stay in a lane that no one else could enter, if you want to take over a room without saying a word, it's probably going to come from something that you only have. And I like to make the bow tie not an accessory, but a centerpiece. And people notice that from the moment you're in the room to the moment you leave.
Well, I mean, they say we all have a twin in the world, right? So maybe they all just happen to pull the same straw and
those are a lot of straws.
Put on the same, outfit. I mean, we just had this conversation about people who are very prominent. They tend to have the same colored shirt in their wardrobe, the same tie, the same pants, the same shoes. So, they don't have exactly a variety in there. They're not very colorful.
This is true.
I mean, well, I guess, not everybody can be good at fashion, right? We're all good at something.
We're all good at something. I mean, but if you need some help, I'm here too.
Yeah, you got people like Mr. Robert here that can hook you up with a nice accessory. Maybe you can even help them pick the right suit for it. Do you also plan on diving into other avenues of fashion, like maybe suit making or shirts or maybe even shoes potentially?
It's funny that you asked, Portia. I actually am a stylist as well. I just worked with a partner of mine, and we styled an individual for the VC Polo Classics that was in LA this past past weekend. Yeah, and had a great time sourcing looks, creating pieces, and getting them together for that event. And he looked amazing. I have definitely taken into account the end goal, which is to create the full ensemble in menswear. So from shoes, suits, shirts, all the way, of course, to our bows. And I'm not touching hats yet. I feel that that industry is doing well, yet from everything else. Yes.
Well, you can't forget about the socks too.
Socks.
There's still, some very distinguished gentlemen that like to have their
Absolutely.
socks match and have everything coordinated.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, why not? Try your hand at the hats.
Why not?
I mean, the way you're dressed today, you're coordinated very well with
Thank
your
you.
hat and your nice blazer on and your, little,
On my pocket square?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though you're not wearing a tie today.
No tie today. Well, it's cold. I grabbed a turtleneck. But the royal ties is represented. It's here.
Yes, it is. It is very much so. Very much so. So, what's one of the most unique ties that you had to create?
King of the Knot competition, both 5, was more so of a couture avant-garde bow. It was our wild card. I have been playing around with lace lately, and I have a signature style of a bow where I will make an asymmetrical look, where one side will hold one pattern completely different from the entire bow, and it's been a fan favorite ever since I dropped it. So it's an all white muslin fabric, very soft, draped under a lace on a signature asymmetrical look. So one side is lace, the other side isn't. And for the side that is not, there are a wing of feathers that have been sewn into the fabric and drape over like a wing.
I mean, that's very, very fancy. I mean, where, I guess, would you wear that to?
A lot of people see masquerade parties. A lot of people see galas. Those upper echelon events that will call for such creativity that no one could touch.
Wow. I mean, it kind of reminds me of when people were buying the jeans that were split down the middle with one color here
Right.
then one color over here.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, confession here, I have several pair of those where one leg is black and the other one might be red or white or checkered, or even the front is one color and different in the back.
Interesting.
So,
But it's on that same level. I've seen suits lately that are different in their style, even some asymmetrical ones as well, where one might be a solid color, the other side may be a pattern, but of the same color. So just different ways to just express yourself through style. I love it.
I love it too. I mean, I'm glad that there's still gentlemen out here that want to continue the distinct look, not the quote unquote common look that you see a lot today, and especially in a lot of young people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because when you watch, like the VMAs and those types of award shows, you don't really see the distinguished looks. You see more of the, like you said, the twin syndrome.
Yeah. They just want to look like the next person, and everyone walks in looking exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, they say we all have a twin in the world. So maybe they all just, like I said, the straw picking. It happens. It does. It happens. So, we're about to wrap up here, Robert. What advice can you offer our listeners today? Potentially there's somebody, a young gentleman who might be interested in getting into fashion, or even, somebody who might want to go into strictly bow ties.
Okay. First thing I would say for anyone that either wants to go into bow ties or just want to tap into fashion, be you. Get an understanding of who you are, and underneath that, level of influence, continue to grow. You know, fashion is everywhere. Style is individual. And the only way you can tap into that is if you are focused on you. Know who you are, believe in yourself and what you can do. And the fashion, you'll take that and create something no man can touch.
I hear that. You know, just be comfortable in your own skin. Don't be afraid to be different. I love things that are different. I'm not a fan of the twin syndrome
At all.
Well, thanks again, Robert, for joining me here on Groove with Portia. You know, once again, everybody, if you're interested in purchasing a bow tie or looking at Robert's collection, definitely go to his website. That's whoismrwayne.com. And also you can, you know, give him a phone call, and that phone number is 216-309-2969. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Groove with Portia. Stay tuned for the next episode. Take care and have a good night.